Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey. And I'm here with my co-host, my friend, they're the editor of the Downey Patriot, Eric Pierce. And you're watching Talking Downey with Mario.
And Eric.
Great.
Hey, Mario.
Good, we got this down pat now.
We did. We do.
We're doing good on there. So
Mario, I want to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you,
It
sir.
was a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
You turned 64. I hope you don't mind me saying it. 64. You look good.
Thank
you have
you.
a lot of energy. So you haven't slowed down at all. If anything, you're going faster.
I know. These days, no, I feel great, and I'm very blessed. And, this 64 was a little different. Just like last week, it started hitting me. I don't know, 63, you're still closer to 60. And then 64 is like, dude, I can get Social Security soon if I wanted to. And then it's like, okay, you're definitely in the fourth quarter. Before you were at the end of the third quarter. And now, so it actually, it didn't impact me. I didn't get sad or anything, but it was like a little different.
No, one more year till 65.
Yeah.
You can retire.
Yeah.
You can,
Dude, I ain't retiring. What am I going to do retire?
Ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, this is my sunset. You know what? I'm serious. Thank you. You guys took me out to lunch, and I really appreciate it. But I got great friends. I have an awesome family. Somebody asked me last night, literally, what's the greatest thing that you've ever done for our country? And I thought about it because, of course, I was thinking with my military hat, right? And I'm like, my kids. My kids, hopefully that's and how I've raised them on there. And the guy was kind of taken back a little bit, like, what? I go, yeah, my kids, hopefully they're going to continue the legacy of being a good American citizen. That's all I want. So,
we took you out to lunch to Fernando's over in Firestone. My first time there. I had never been there before, and I'm a little upset that nobody ever told me about Fernando's because it was really good.
No, I used to go there once a week on there. So, somebody, by the way, we always end up like somebody criticized that we talk about food, even though we're talking about serious issues. But somebody said the other day, Downey, with the whole Shake Shack coming, Downey needs more sit-down restaurants with menus and so forth. That's one of them. Fernando's is Peruvian food over on Firestone.
Yeah. Family owned.
Family owned, and it's actually cute inside. Go on my Facebook on there and see the picture of the five of us in there.
It was a good lunch.
It was really nice, yes. And I went with Alex Saab, former Mayor Saab, Hans Fritz, and Tony Aboud, and thank you. But we were just talking about, we have other restaurants we think that are nice restaurants, or at least sit down besides fast food. You got the Diosa one that just opened up. That's
a beautiful restaurant.
It's amazing. That restaurant could be in Beverly Hills, and it's amazing looks, prices, and everything else. You got places like the Olive, you got like Gaucho, you got El Pescador, you got, other places that are nice sit-down restaurants and with good food, individually owned Lock and Key, even Ola and Joseph's and stuff, all a little bit more night crowd. But come on, people that are so negative about that. It's
there's
really?
people who complain about everything. If you remember 10, 15 years ago, one of the biggest criticisms about Downey was that there's no place to eat in Downey.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore.
No.
We have more options. I think we're actually kind of spoiled, to be honest.
Yeah.
The Olive Resto Bar is probably my favorite restaurant in Downey.
Yeah.
We have options.
Yeah. And you know what? The Restro Bar is different than the Green Olive, which is more, we get that to take home and stuff. That's in North Downey on there. I think it was owned by the same family and stuff. So, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. Again, I'm not going to bring up his name. He's a jerk that used to write for you. He was on the string of your social media. The most negative person. He used to write the most negative things. He thought he was an LA Times reporter and wrote Will Hetty. And I didn't understand half the things he was saying. But again, on this comment, he goes off onto the city, and there's no vision, and there's no arts, and this and that. And then it's like, what have you ever done besides write negative articles? And now you don't even want him in the Patriot because he's a dork.
I learned a long time ago not to read the comments.
Yeah.
I don't read the comments. You know, on the Patriots website, there used to be a comment section.
There was.
It was open to comments,
Yeah.
and it was just so much negativity, and people would just throw out this nonsense left and right, and people would just criticize. And so I don't read the comments anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't really add value anymore.
Right. So, hey, listen, on our show, a couple fun things on there. We had somebody that up in Sacramento says, hey, I'm working on the budget all week. And so I started listening to your podcast, and I thought this was good. So I'm going to repeat it. That, you know, this was probably, you and I had the best discussion on historical preservation on one of our shows he's ever heard. Because, you know, we have the dialogue back and forth, what it means, why, and, you know, the toothpaste out kind of stuff on there. So that was good. That was fun to get a good compliment. You and I got a text on that. So that
people are listening. It feels good to know that people are actually listening and watching the show.
But then on the other side, you're getting me in trouble. Some of your comments that you made that I kind of set back, I didn't disagree completely on them, on some of them. All of a sudden, I got criticized for me saying it. It was you, and it's okay. You
no, it does
and
happen.
Probably vice versa, I'm sure.
It does, because I get accused of being a Republican all the time, and I'm not. But people associate me, you know, with you, and you know, you're a Republican, and
I'm a moderate Republican. Yes, sir.
I'm not I'm independent. I'm definitely not a Republican. But people,
you don't have to emphasize it that much. I'm not evil, dude.
But I get labeled that all the time, and it is what it is. It doesn't really bother. It bothers me a little bit, I guess. But it is what it is. We say what we say. We feel how we feel. You know.
Well, people here, some of the people here locally too, have referred to me as a rhino, Republican in name only. You know, which I just laugh. It's kind of, they mean that as a slap, right? But, you know, my values are my values, you know. I'm on certain things that it is what it is. So, yes, I am definitely a proud Republican just for the positions it stands with, but not 100%. I'm not with the goofy, really far right.
You're not the crazy right wing.
No, I don't. And I think those people are hurting not only the party, but the country, too. So
people also,
and the same thing happens on the extreme left.
Sure,
too.
of course.
Crazy people on both sides.
Absolutely. And people also accuse you of being not accuse you, but they say that you own the Downey Patriot newspaper, which isn't true.
No, I sold all my stock a couple of days ago. No, I've never owned it. I don't own it.
No.
I own it. And what's the other lie? Wait a second. The other lie was that I gave you $50,000 to buy your condo in downtown Downey.
That would be nice.
Whatever number you want to use.
It's not too late.
I know, but it's just a bunch of idiots. So in the best case on there, what would make anybody think that I ain't going to take $50,000 from my family? And I love Eric Pierce, but I'm not going to give you $50,000, Eric, so you can move to Downey and whatever reason. You know, so again, it's just people. But that same goofy guy repeated it the other day. Because he heard it from another goofy guy in Cerritos and. Anyways, the naysayers.
People say it's lots of misinformation, but people are going to say what they're going to say.
Yeah, especially here in Downey. We're a small town in many ways, although we're a big city. So, but the point on that is, from now on, I am going to differentiate my voice from yours.
Okay.
I listened to, and I'm being facetious too. I listened to it, that one issue, the one on historical preservation. I decided to, let me hear what it was. Show, and I heard it instead of watching it on YouTube. Totally different. I can see where we're not that far apart on voice sometimes. Yeah.
Interesting. So, I never even thought about that before.
Yeah, listen to it. And then today I got this raspy voice.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Phoebe on Friends.
Remember
when she got sick and she had that say on there, smelly gut.
It was that sexy voice.
What are you proud of? I can't believe I remember that part.
Know.
So let's talk stuff.
So normally after a city council week, we recap the council meeting. It was kind of a slow week. There wasn't much going on city council wise. But I did want to ask you about something. The Downey Patriot, Alex Dominguez, he wrote a story on Ojos Locos. It's under construction over on Firestone where Denny's used to be.
Right.
The question out there is Ojos Locos still happening? According to the story, Alex talked to the mayor, Claudia Fermetta. She's going to she's trying to put the city in touch with the owners of Ojos Locos to try to get them to reconsider the concept. Maybe open a restaurant, but maybe not the Ojos Locos brand. Maybe something a little bit different. You've been on the city council for 8 years. You're on the planning commission, actually, so you have a different, unique a viewpoint of it. I mean, what are your thoughts? Is it too late to change it? Is it going to happen?
Well, I thought, and I remembered a year ago when it was going on, that I thought the city was reaching out to them, and they were even talking about different locations or different names. So when I read it, it kind of surprised me that I thought we already had. So I didn't. This was new that we're now going to. Right. But no, the answer is no. It's always a good time to talk. You know, I thought we've been doing it for the last year. Maybe with the change in city manager and all the other stuff, maybe the city council didn't get around to it or didn't do it. But no, they should. I think you should talk to every business. You know, so when Bastards Restaurant came in, right? At first, it was coming up, and we had a lot of from a conservative family and churches and so forth, the name Bastards, right? So we did call him in and talk to him. I remember sitting in there and being nice. I mean, he's got a First Amendment right to call it whatever he wants. But I said, can you tell us a little bit about the name? Well, it turns out the name Bastards was from his group, his unit, that they fought in Afghanistan together for the Marines, and it was Magnificent Bastards and, you know, MBs and so forth. So that's a proud Marine.
So there's a real meaning behind it.
A real meaning behind them. So again, and then I even said, I go, look, there, you have a right, and we'll gladly support you. You ever thought of changing it maybe to MBs or cutting it down or, you know, softening it down there? He goes, sir, with all due respect, that's the name of our unit, and that's the name we're going to arrest him. I go, you know, you have a First Amendment right. Yeah. Shook his hand. Thank you for serving our country, and thank you for opening up a business in the city of Downey. And it's never been an issue now because, you know, they did their logo there with, you know, obviously everybody knows it's a veteran bar, if you will, and God bless them.
There's still a few people. I know a couple of people who don't, and they're closed right now because of a fire, but I know a couple of people who still don't go there because of the name. They find it offensive. Right. And that's fine. I mean, that's the way it is.
Well, you don't have to go there. You just have to respect the thing. So Ojos Locos, I mean, if I were them, first of all, I'd change the name, because now in our city, there's gotten so much bad connotation, if you will, on it. So I think, and they have 21 different restaurants. So,
But the thing is, and you know, this is my unpopular opinion, I feel like if Ojos Locos opens, they're going to be very crowded. They'll be very popular. They're going to do great business. Yeah, and they know that. Eric, they're going to draw people.
I hate to agree with you, but I think you're right. I think you're right, and I think that's the best part of, you know, of democracy, that, you know, maybe you and I won't go there, but people can. The one thing that gets, I mean, it's, you know, they have to do a clothes ordinance for waitresses, right? So many inches on cleavage and this and that, which I thought, first of all, who's going to enforce that? But I'll tell you, I go to restaurants today that are nice restaurants. There's a lot of cleavage being shown.
Well, I mean,
so we have an ordinance, and if you're not going to enforce it, what good is it?
Look at Diosa. You know, very beautiful, you know, waitresses, beautiful staff. It is what it is. But I think there is also a level of sophistication with Diosa. But it's all subjective, though. That's the tough part.
Well, the pictures that came out from, they say it's from special events on Ojos Locos, on their social media. You know, it was the fish stockings for the waitresses.
It was lingerie. It was a lingerie
thing and so forth like that. So I'm just hoping that's not what it is, and that's what comes on there. But you're right. I think, you know, buyer beware. Let the residents speak with their finances. But I think the mayor should talk to them and see what happens.
I didn't know until recently that Ojos Locos has a casino in Vegas.
I did not know that.
And so I honestly, I want to go check it out and see what it's about. But I think it does tell you that we're talking about a very large company. This isn't a small little, you know, 1-person, 2-person operation. They have dozens of locations. They're legit.
21, I thought.
They're legit.
I read that article from Alex. So that's also interesting. Why would they pick Downey of all the places? I mean, I understand that thing there is in good shape. You know, good location on Firestone. You know, the concerns were it was, you know, close to the high school, but, you know, Diosa is actually closer to the high school, even though, but that's not the same type of thing. I don't know. It's just why would they pick Downey?
Okay, so why not Downey?
Yeah.
I think.
Ooh, I like your optimism.
Well, I'm saying it because I think sometimes we think of Downey as being, an upper middle class community, and let's be honest, we're a little bit snobby.
Yeah.
We're Downey. We need a Trader Joe's. We need a Sprouts. We don't want Ojos Locos. People are going to go. People are going to go. And I think they recognize it. Yeah. There's really there's in Southgate, I guess, there's a Hooters, but there's really no other sports bar type of place like that, I think, that I can think of. Joseph's is more of a nightclub, I think. It's just different demographics.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything to that because that was Eric speaking, not Mario, because I'll get in trouble if I know. I'm kidding. I don't. I'm kind of.
But if you're a single guy in your 20s and you want to watch the game with your buddies, I can see people going there as much as we're not going to go. But it's just a matter of I think what really bothered people, including myself, is when we saw the images of the waitresses literally in lingerie. That seemed like it was just too far.
Right.
Right. If it was just something, nobody has a problem, I think, with cleavage or something kind of seductive or whatever, but keep it a little classy as much as it can. I don't know. Maybe there's some room for negotiation. I don't know.
Right. No, I totally agree. On there. It all depends on there. But City of Downey is we keep evolving, but we still want to be considered a middle class, family orientated city, and I think that's right. But during one of the UCLA games, I went to Ola for lunch down the street here in downtown Downey. And that's got a good sports bar.
It does.
It's on there without being excessive. It's loud, but that's what people like, and it was full. And I just sat at the bar, had lunch, watched the UCLA game. So that was
some good food, good drinks.
They kind of looked at me like, "You're too old to be in here." No, they didn't. They treated me very nice. They didn't know who I was. It was very nice.
I like eating outside on the little patio. It is very nice.
Yeah. Hey, so speaking of downtown Downey, so what do you think now with all the little, outside stuff taken out and whatever? It looks nice again. The Downey Avenue. Or what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I have mixed thoughts.
Ooh, mixed thoughts. Okay.
So I feel like I like the idea. I like the concept of open air dining. I like being able to. I support closed streets and eating outside, and that's why I love the night markets that we're having now, the second and fourth Thursday, because we close down the streets. You can get some food. You're walking with your family. It's very good atmosphere. It's fun, very positive vibes, and I feel like it's kind of a waste is using it on parking. Now you got the smog. It's loud. But it wasn't ready yet. It wasn't ready. I would like to see it maybe close down the streets on the weekends, maybe on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know. But I don't know. I got mixed feelings.
I think it's evolving. I kind of like that they took those things out, and especially those K-rail things. They look terrible. It was uninviting. Some of the other businesses that weren't restaurant were being impacted. So I think it was a combination of all those things. So I think I'm kind of glad that it is what it is now. Let's organically grow it and keep on there. But the night market seems to be doing really well.
It draws a lot of people, and I think also with the number of existing restaurants right there, it didn't support closing down those spaces anymore, especially with Bastards and the Peck and China closed right now.
Well, it was too far. Remember at the beginning when they closed the street down right after COVID? Oh, we're going to help these restaurants. We're going to make the street and close it down. They closed it down for 6 months. It was terrible. It was all these businesses lost money. The street was empty. Cars had to be diverted. And the businesses that weren't in that little section that were over here, like, what the heck?
But also, I think we, as part of the downtown, I think we need to get out of the mindset that we have to park in front of the business. But we want people to walk in downtown.
Right. True. But closing it down was 2 years premature. I mean, now that we do it selectively.
Absolutely. But it came from a good place because at the time, remember, we couldn't eat inside the restaurants.
No, but this was like, okay, so on a Tuesday, you couldn't drive through it. Okay, it was just empty. There was
Right.
there was nothing going on. Most of the
Right.
restaurants weren't open for lunch, so you closed it down for basically a Friday and Saturday night at a certain time.
Right.
So that didn't seem to be the best choice to do. But I'm glad they did it for 6 months.
And the city is being more selective now.
Yeah.
In their
Yeah.
in
I think-
in how often they
I
close
think
it.
they learned from that. I think they learned that they went too quickly.
Right.
On shutting down the whole street. So that
Right.
was a good thing. So what else is going on? I went to the opening day yesterday.
You
Of the
did.
Dodgers. I
That's
did.
right. Dodgers opening day.
Yeah, it was good. It was
How
good.
was the pitch clock?
On there,
The pace of the game.
I think the game was about half an hour shorter than normal.
Okay.
Halfway through the game, it seemed like, wow, this is going fast. So I get it, and it was only a little bit of distraction. So I think it's a it's a nothing burger.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's like, okay, people get used to it. The base is being 4 inches shorter. I mean, a lot bigger.
Right.
I think one of the Diamondbacks overslid. Mookie threw him out at second base. It was
Right.
awesome. So
There's more stolen bases now. Yeah.
I think there's going to be more. And I ran into Alex Dominguez, your faithful reporter out there. We walked around. I was blessed. I went. I share season tickets there with Bob Arthur, former mayor of Norwalk and Cerritos College Board. So we went. It was 4 mayors. It was with former Mayor Rick Rodriguez and former Mayor Kirk Kartosian and myself and Bob Arthur. Opening day is great because we share those tickets on there. But Bob always gets opening day. But this year he invited us, which was awesome. So I had a Shake Shack on their burger on the right field because we got there so early that it wasn't crowded.
Was
So
this your first time at Shake Shack?
It was no. but
No,
it's
we
been
talked about it. You
Yeah,
said
it's the
that
first
before.
time in quite a few years,
Yeah.
right? So I was kind of curious, right? Because we have the Shake Shack coming and the whole bit. And I got to tell you, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It was just really awesome. And it's funny that old Yogi Berra line, nobody goes there anymore because it's always too crowded. Well, that's how I always felt about Shake Shack. When I'd go to the right field thing, there's 5 lines deep. It was never going to keep one there. But yesterday we got there early enough. It was raining a little bit at the beginning. Hey, the lines are short. Let's do it. I can't wait. I'm in. I'm in.
Good.
It's just as good, or it's a different crowd than an In-N-Out. So if you're an In-N-Out person, bologna and Shake Shack. If you're a Shake Shack, bologna and In-N-Out. I don't get it. We get both. I'm good.
You don't have to pick between
No,
the two.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Especially for us, it's going to be, we can just walk.
Now, this is just me. I wouldn't eat Shake Shack at Dodger Stadium. I feel like
Sacrilegious.
it is. Like you're there, have a Dodger dog, have some nachos, some peanuts,
Okay,
a
dude,
malt.
have you seen me lately? Okay, so we get there and we are walking out there, so we have that. Okay, well, 2 hours later, when we're in our seats, of course we have a Dodger dog.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happens in the third inning? I go and get shakes. I mean the malts, right? Oh my God, Eric, they don't do the carnation malt anymore.
Really?
No, I posted mine on my social media and I even put it upside down. It's some reduced fat something malt. It's smaller. It's not the carnation Dodger one. I'm so disappointed. I've been eating that
But
with
how did
my
it
dad.
taste?
It was terrible. It was not the same. And
You can't have it.
Yeah.
Okay, like I understand you probably miss the carnation,
Uh-huh.
but I'm sure it wasn't terrible. I'm sure it was so good.
dude,
just
anything
wasn't
that
the
says
same.
reduce fat, why? Why? I mean, that just tells me no. And okay, it was probably okay, but I think the nostalgia of missing my dad and missing the malt, that's a tradition and all that other good stuff.
Did you get a wooden spoon?
I did not. They didn't have
didn't?
them. They
No
give you a
wooden spoon?
plastic spoon.
Oh, okay,
But guess
okay.
what? I went to my Dodger jacket at home this morning, and I have some wooden spoons in the pocket. So now I'm going to bring my own wooden spoons out.
How
They give me a
funny.
plastic spoon. What is that?
Yeah,
What's
no,
that all about?
I'm with you on that.
It's
It
got to
should
be
the
hard,
wooden.
and you got to shove it sideways to get your wood in there so it won't break. You can't just do it. So now it was like, no, bring back. And the Dodger dogs were okay. I mean, they're close to the real thing, and so
Yeah.
so of course we did have that, but. I wouldn't go to Shake Shack again. You're right. We're doing
No,
it again.
I'm
So,
excited to.
Yeah.
I didn't go, but
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll go to a couple of games
Right,
this
right.
season. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
So Eric, getting on we wanted to talk about a little heady subject here, and you don't like talking about politics, and I totally understand, but a little bit here. This year we're going to be talking a lot about it because we got 2 elections coming up, and it's unique to us, and we know of 3 or 4 candidates already, and we're going to try to have all the candidates here on our show so they can, present themselves to the Downey residents, and we'll talk about them and give on there. And I personally think Talking Downey at some point should host a candidates forum too, and
like we did last year.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it, but from a political standpoint, what's going on now, what's happening in local government, that's what I wanted to bring up. So, and we're not going to talk about this, but we have, of course, yesterday, only former President Trump could take the front page away from a conviction of Mark Ridley Thomas, right? Because the LA Times today has, of course, the Trump on the top, and then the conviction. I mean, that's not an indictment; that's a conviction of a federal crime. So, when you think about it, and we were talking earlier, so LA has so many corruption things on there. Of course, Huizar that pled guilty, Engler that pled guilty. You had the deputy mayor that pled guilty, and of course this now, and it keeps going on and going on. And then you had the 3 council persons that, if you hadn't thought about it, if we hadn't heard it, Martinez, De Leon, and Cedillo, that were blatantly racist tapes on there. So, what makes you think? Why do you think Downey, with the exception of one, has kind of been removed from a little bit from corruption, or is it because we haven't heard about it?
Yeah.
But you guys do a pretty decent job as a patriot.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Downey's been insulated from the corruption, as far as we know, and I think it's a couple of reasons. One, you mentioned we've had a newspaper here in Downey, going back, decades. There's always been a newspaper here in Downey, and every single city council meeting, there's a reporter. And right now it's Alex Dominguez. Before Alex, it was me. Before me, it was John Adams. There's always a reporter at the city council meetings to observe what's going on. Even this past Tuesday, the most boring meeting, we have reporters there asking questions, reading the documents, and keeping an eye on things. Right. Now, things are always going to fall through the cracks, but it makes a big difference. And I hear from other cities, too, that don't have that don't have newspapers, and they wish that they did. That's part of it. I think the other part is Downey, traditionally, the city manager, the city staff have always been very honest, ethical people, and that makes a huge difference. And I think part of it too is I'm sure there's been shady deals. Of course, there's been shady politicians, and maybe we just don't know about it. I'm sure we don't know about it. They're not everybody's an angel, but not everything is going to be. It's not always going to come to light. Right. So I think different factors kind of come into it, and we have also very active residents, people like you, who follow very closely what's happening in the city and who was very vocal. I know if you saw any kind of, shady business going on, we've heard in the past rumors about, marijuana dispensaries coming to Downey. I'm sure if you knew about that, you would bring it up. Actually, you've mentioned it on the podcast before. We have people who wouldn't just turn a blind eye. We have people who care very deeply about Downey, and we have those conversations.
Yeah. And we did. We had it when I was on the council. We had several council members that was something that we always looked for in some of the other council members or the staff. That was always one of my fears too, that we weren't watching the store, and as an elected official, that I wasn't diligent enough in looking at what was going on there. And, we've only had the one really embarrassment we ever had was former Councilman Luis Marquez. He had to kind of resign in shame, if you will, when his mistress came to a council meeting with his, son, baby, and said how he was being bribed. She was being bribed to keep quiet until after an election, because Luis was running his now ex-wife Alma for that council seat that Blanca Pacheco won. So and then he just kind of left in disgrace and never came back. But you know what's interesting is that's kind of today that would be prosecuted as a form of bribery, if you will. I mean, she came to the council, so that was.
And
like,
that's just to be fair, that's just her side of it.
That's
we never heard.
Of course. But by him leaving and resigning and never going back to City Hall with 6 months left, that was kind of his answer.
Yeah. Well, he
right?
didn't resign; he just walked away.
Well,
right?
yeah, right. No, he picked up nothing. He left everything in his office. He left. And then for the next 15 meetings, he never showed up. Where 2 months later, I think the city staff there had to pack up his office and leave it on its front porch.
Yeah.
But so I'm sorry, that's a little embarrassing for the
Yeah.
city because everybody there at the council was all tense. It's like, how do you put up with that? You know, here's this lady holding this baby, saying that's his baby.
Right.
I was paid to keep quiet, and now I never got paid.
Yeah.
And so anyways, but today I think even on that would be like indictable on there
Right.
to bribery from an elected official to keep quiet about an indiscretion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine if Weezer would have done that, you know, which I'm sure he did too on there, but
And,
anyways.
and you know, I think traditionally, until somewhat recently, Downey has had good people run for office.
Yes.
And I think and I'm saying, you know, civic leaders, people who have been involved in their community,
Right.
volunteers, they see city council as the next extension, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
as part of their volunteerism.
Right.
That's changed a little bit now.
Right.
And now you're starting to see candidates who are spending tens of thousands of dollars to run for office, if not more.
Right.
And you need money to run a campaign.
Right.
But they're spending a lot of their own personal money. And I think it wasn't always that way,
Right.
you know.
Right.
For Downey office, I mean,
Yeah.
why are you gonna spend six figures for a seat on the Downey City Council?
Right. And when I was in there, we got paid $743 a month. As mayor, you get an extra $100. So because you spent more time attending events and so forth. And I used to always laugh. I like the city. It's not like the school district actually gets a health insurance and a couple other benefits and stuff. Not that they don't deserve it, but there are a couple other benefits. So Downey, that's all you get, $743, and you get nothing else. You
Yeah.
get no retirement, no pension, no health insurance. So it's a true volunteerism type of thing. And I always said, but you get a really cool parking spot at City Hall. I go, that's the only
Yeah.
reason I facetiously always said that on there. But yeah, it was volunteers and it was public service. And so
Yeah.
now it's changed a little bit. But I think, you know, in local government, I'm still a local government guy. You know, the things that we changed in my 8 years in office, and it was we, because it was, you know, we drove the city staff and we as a council decided these initiatives. It was awesome. And I look back today and I drive down the streets, I'm like, we did that. We did
Yeah.
that. You know, we.
And you know what? On the local level is where you make the biggest difference, I
Yeah.
feel like. And if you're a resident and you want your voice heard, it's not difficult.
Yeah.
You know, our current mayor, Claudia Fermetta, she just had a coffee with the mayor event a couple of weeks ago
right.
at the Space Center. If you're a resident and you have concerns
Right.
or questions, it's not hard to
Right.
attend these events and speak directly to your representatives.
right.
You can't do that on the state level, really,
Right.
or definitely on the federal level. It's a lot more difficult.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
I appreciate it. Remember my town hall meetings? I had them every October for 8 years. They were pretty well attended for the
Yeah.
most part, and there were some tough questions and so forth. So, no, I'm glad she did that.
We haven't had a town hall, have we? Maybe Claudia has. I'm not sure.
No, we haven't had a town hall. Gosh, I can't remember. I think a couple people tried after me. I know that the crazy lady that got recalled put one on the schedule, and then when
didn't happen.
It didn't happen because the staff said, "Are you crazy? You're
Yeah.
going to have all these people that want you out of office coming." So she canceled it. But we haven't had one in 5 or 6 years.
Sean Ashton had a couple of them. They weren't as good, and then we had COVID. so it
No,
kinda shut
I
it
saw
down.
one. He had about 12 people show up.
Yeah.
Well, because you really do have to advertise it and let it out there, and it's not advertising that you're doing it. It's advertising that this is available to you.
But and also too, I think the most effective town halls are the ones where you actually can allow time to hear from the residents.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of town halls where you're being lectured to.
Yeah.
You have that council member just talking to you.
Yeah.
And it should be actually the other way around.
Yeah, there was 3 or 4 things that are now in the city of Downey, permanent things that happened because of my town hall meeting.
Yeah.
If you go on the corner of Quill and Reeves, catty corner from the Barbara Riley Center.
The roundabout, was that you?
Well, yeah, no, the roundabout, that was crazy. Oh my God, that was so stupid. That was Sean Ashton. That was the dumbest thing in a
I
small
know.
corner. But believe it or not, that always had a stop sign. It didn't have crosswalks. Okay, in having a town hall meeting there, on there, a resident on there, I can tell you her name on there, Kelly. On there, and my wife brought it up at a town hall openly. I'm like, told my wife, like, why didn't you tell me this at home?
Yeah.
I never thought it. So they brought it up, look outside, and I'm like, no way. Of course it's got a crosswalk there.
Right.
And I literally had to go after the town hall meeting, walk to the corner there. Oh my God, there's no crosswalk there.
Yeah.
And that was simple, easy fixes that you can't believe it, from a town hall meeting, the lines in the middle of Reeves, okay, we didn't have those lines. A resident brought it up to me there, and I thought about it, and I waited a while to make sure. And it seems our public works director didn't want to spend the paint. So when the street got resurfaced, I said, we're putting the lines in.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference from the flow of traffic. And then when you remember, you have no lines, and Reeves is a pretty heavily trafficked through street. And so you have people driving in the middle of the street,
Sure.
right? Because there's no guide. So now with that line, it's 9 day, but again, that comes from resident stuff.
Simple things.
Simple things that don't cost a lot of money, but nobody thinks about it. We didn't think about it,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways,
What else is going on, Mario?
today is the last day of LA County's federal emergency dedication.
Now today, this is when we're taping it. You'll probably hear this, by the
Right.
time you hear this.
Right.
But yeah.
Today's March 31st.
So what does that mean?
I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, I still think you can get free shots and so forth, which I still ask
good.
people to do.
I need my booster.
I think some of it is the rents and so forth and being evicted in the county areas and stuff like that. I still can't believe if you're a landlord in your unincorporated areas of LA County and somebody hasn't paid you for 3 years now that you haven't been able to evict them, even though they have a job and everything else on there, all things being equal. That came up this week that this is something that impacts Downey too. It was 2-2 vote from the council, as a 2-2 vote from LA Board of Supervisors. They were going to put a 3% increase on the entire county when it comes to rents. And then there was one abstention. Holly Mitchell abstained there, so obviously it didn't pass. But it was Sheila Kuehl and Lindsay Horvath were the two that voted that wanted to do this, which sometimes you think these people need to have an economics course,
And when you say 3% increase, what do you mean?
3% increase in rents from year to year. Right now, the state is 5%. That's what Downey goes by, 5% plus the cost of living.
And rent control.
And rent control. But they wanted to put 3% with no cost of living there, period. So can you imagine today, okay, number one, property taxes that the county is also charging on there more. Property taxes on there, your cost of electricity, your cost of maintenance, all these things. You and I own this home and we're renting it out, and that's our little second income and stuff. Number one is we haven't been able to charge anything for 3 years because our tenant hasn't paid, and now we're limited to 3%. And when the state is 5%, it doesn't seem logical. It doesn't seem, and the ramifications are going to be huge. So there was two. Janice Hahn represents Downey, and Catherine Barger voted against it. So 2-2 tie. Holly Mitchell abstains. It doesn't pass.
Yeah.
Thank goodness there's some common sense there, because this, again, they keep pushing the envelope. When I keep talking about the crazy left, that's what I'm talking about. Just the common sense economics 101 for us citizens.
Well, we're now 3 years removed from 2020 COVID, and I think there should be consensus that this is something now that we're living with COVID.
Right.
It's not an emergency anymore.
Right.
It's something now. It's a way of life, unfortunately, and we manage it, and that's the best that we can do.
Yeah. So
I think there has been a segment of the population of people who use it. Of course, they use it to their advantage, the COVID protections. They take advantage of it.
And I agree with you too, by the way. Obviously, COVID didn't just go away. But listen, and everybody says, oh, you're crazy. I know good friends that are in the medical, like, oh, you're crazy to put that in your body. Are you kidding? I'm now 64. I took every shot, and I think I've had 3 boosters. Are you kidding? It's like I need all the protection, and when they come out with more, and the science is there, I'm going to take more
I
shots.
trust the science 100% more than I do some crazy person on Facebook.
No kidding. So, anyways, well, we covered a lot.
We did.
This morning we came in and we had some issues we were going to talk about, but we really didn't have a lot of big news, of course, from the city council.
Yeah, I'm excited right now because we're in springtime. We're heading into summer. We're going to have, concerts in the park right around the corner. We have a bunch of events and festivals, and there's a lot of fun times coming to Downey.
Yeah. It is exciting. There's a lot of good stuff. I think our city government is normal again.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. So I think that makes us feel better. We don't have all the crazy stuff on there. That recall was a good thing. And now we're getting into election season. I think more into summer or August when people start knocking on doors.
Yeah, it's gonna and it feel every year we have election after election, but and I get tired of them too. I get tired of talking about them. But it doesn't make them any less important.
Yeah, especially this year.
Yeah, we have District 1 and District 3, and, there's special elections, and there's ramifications, and it's part of the process, part of our responsibility of being citizens to be educated on who's running, on what the issues are, on what's important to you, and how these candidates stand on those issues. Right. So they're important, and we'll talk more about them.
Right. So... anyways, I think we should wrap up for this one.
Yeah.
I think we covered a lot. Folks, so thank you. Thank you for listening and watching. We forgot to mention our sponsor, Financial Partners Credit Union. We
didn't forget. We just saved them the best for last.
We saved the best for last on there. They've been our sponsor and great people here in the city of Downey, and we thank them. Nader, the CEO, is also the chairman of the board of the Columbia Memorial Space Center that we're looking to expand there, and all kinds of stuff involved in the community, and we appreciate it. They were the lead sponsor of the TLC 5K.
Great event.
You know when that started? The TLC 5K?
No, what do you mean?
You know when the first one it was? Healthy Downey.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, that was my year as mayor, and we wanted to make a community thing, and I was on that board of TLC, and that's one of the discussions. So the very first one was part of Healthy Downey.
I did not know that.
Yeah, 2013, my mayoral year.
Nice.
And that's, anyways. I'm kind of proud of the things that still go on after you're doing. Because I got nothing to do with it now. I got nothing to do with it. Real good English. I have nothing to do with it. So, anyways, thanks for listening. We understand some of you listen on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all of them. And then, of course, you're watching us on YouTube, and we try to put the links on our Facebook and our Instagram. So, however we can reach you. Let us know your thoughts. Somebody the other day said...
I don't read the comments, so you can say what you
I did. Somebody the other day said, that dude's got to decide whether he wants a beard or not a beard. I think it's talking about my...
It was talking about me.
No, it was talking about me, I think. So we do listen to you, even if they're... I thought that was funny because I don't know what I want either. But anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You're here with Talking Downey with Mario.
And Eric.